Hi, everybody. Hi. It's Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by the B of the Bang.
Yes, I've just flown back from Yokohama, yes.
The match report. How you doing, Bernard?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Enjoyed the game today. Quite entertaining for a rubbishy friendly. Yeah, I'll take that against Bayern Munich, see how we go in that one.
Is that what are you wearing? I'm going to ask you what you're wearing. You're wearing a shirt. Is that a shirt with a hoodie underneath?
The hoodie under the shirt, yeah.
Yeah, right. This is what
just
you
to cover the collar because it's all wrong.
You see me wear this a lot because I think I'm in Northern Ireland now for the next 2 weeks, and I think this is the only City shirt I brought with me.
Well, you probably know it's been peeing down here all day because obviously the cricket rained off. It's just been total. Yesterday and today, it's just been a total waste of time.
There you go. You want to see?
Well, I believe, Chet. I mean, a few hours ago, I think just around after lunch, some guy was posted a picture from Chester, and it was sunny there. So if we just got a little bit of that, we might have been able to stay in the Ashes. But as it is, we've lost them again.
Well, I'm not going to go too much into cricket, but if you don't let do enough overs, there were 26 or some overs short in the 3 days that they played.
They should play up to 9 o'clock at night if they need to. I mean, it's stupid, absolutely stupid.
They should think about it, because what they do, the problem I have with cricket, let's very briefly, is the weather's going to be terrible, but it's only if you lose time did it start half an hour early. If you know the weather on the 4th and 5th days is going to be terrible, why can't you start half an hour early? They'd have had an extra 90 minutes. An extra 90 minutes.
Well, weather forecasting these days, all right, it's not brilliant, but it's reasonably okay nowadays within 1 or 2, 3 days. So they should be able to do it.
My opinion, an extra half an hour in the morning every day is an extra 20 overs, plus the 26 overs that they missed because they were bowling slow. Basically 50 overs. That's half a day's play you could have had. It's enough to make a result. Anyway, let's not worry about it. A few people are watching. We're here to talk about, and it is not going to be more than 20 minutes. We're going to talk about the City game today against Yokohama Mariners. I think they still call Yokohama Mariners.
Yokohama F Marinos.
Oh, all right.
Marinos. N-O-S it's spelled.
And City beat them by 5-3. So, Bernard, I'm going to start you off. I'm going to chuck up hopefully this is, let me find out. I think this is the team news. So that's the team. Honestly, Bernard, how many did you get?
Oh, the original 5, mate. I only got 5 on the original team. I got them all because they all played eventually, but and I wasn't worried about that because I could see by the team. He's basically, I did say in my thing that should have been the Community Shield game, the probables against the possibles. It would have been far better than watching Arsenal, that's for sure. We should have had them 2 teams on the pitch. And then what Pep's done there is he's tried to play 2 reasonably balanced teams. So he's reasonably split the quality in each, I think. So there's no way I was going to get 11 out of 11. Or I think a guy who did my little prediction got 8, I think, 8 or 9. Yeah. But there's no way you're going to get many because Pep's done that deliberately because he knew he was going to totally change it at half time.
Yeah. When you look at that, I mean, if you look at first team players, Stones, Akanji, Ake, there's 3. And Grealish.
Yeah.
If we're honest, that's it. Walker's not first team player anymore. Phillips certainly isn't. Kovacic.
I think it'd be a bit unfair on Walker. I would still class him as a first team player.
Okay, I'm all right, fair enough. But I'm thinking at the end of the season, those who was going to start, for argument's sake, who started the Champions League final?
Yeah,
Stones, Kanji, Ake, Grealish, and that's it. That's how I look at it. In the second, on the subs bench, you've got Edison, Diaz, Haaland. That's 3. Rodri, that's 4. KDB, 5. Bernardo, 6. So you got 6 that would start there, and 4 in the first half, and 1 missing. Who's missing? You started in the Champions League final.
Well, the guy who's gone, good now.
Good one. So I'd look at that second team.
But I think he knew in those subs, he knew he wasn't going to play Edison, and he knew he wasn't going to play KDB because of his injury. So you discount them 2 for a start, and that's probably ended up with 4 each, isn't it?
Yeah, fair dues. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through and talk through every goal because there's 8 goals, and if we talk for a minute on each goal, that's half the time gone. What I'd rather do is is look at a few individual performances, because there's obviously some of the kids, new players, that's what we're kind of interested in. Old players as well, or current, regulars, just to see how if they've slotted back. I'll start off with this is an easy one. It's a bit naughty of me. Haaland, he came on and he did that second half. He scored a couple of goals. How did he look? Did he look sharp?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very sharp. He was certainly his first goal was excellent. The way he shielded it, he did it a couple of more times. He probably could have had a hat trick on the day if Mr. Forward had decided to pass him one as well. That even the last goal, which was, we probably will talk about Cancelo, I hope. One of the best players on the pitch for me, Cancelo tonight. So yes, this morning. Great ball, and Haaland's where you expect him to be as a sniffer, as a goal scorer. He looked a lot sharper, put it this way, than he did against Liverpool in the Community Shield at the start of last season. His first game, that's for sure.
But it's actually really, really good that Haaland scored, even if it's just a friendly warm-up pre-season tour match, because he weren't scoring at the end of last season. He's got 1 in 9 or something. And I think at the end of last season, you were a little bit frustrated with Haaland. Basically, he couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo at the end of the season. It's true, he couldn't, but it's good to see him off the mark. Okay, let's look at a couple of others. I'll start with, I know you got something to say about him, Ortega Moreno. Now, did he show why he should be starting ahead of Edison?
No, loaded question, of course. No, of course he didn't. Distribution-wise, he was fine. Don't forget that he was playing in front of a defence he wouldn't normally be playing in front of. He's not the normal guys particularly. But at least 2 of the 3 goals, certainly the first goal, I thought he was just perhaps slightly mispositioned. He was perhaps a yard too far out. And it wasn't a great shot, and he just parried it out and really should have been doing better with that. Edison would have gobbled that up, in my opinion. And it was just a weak hand. All right, the defence didn't help him out by clearing it, but it gave the guy who did the shot in the first place a chance to take the ball on and put it in the net. And I will put most of the blame on Ortega, even though defensively, I think Akanji got turned into for it. So Akanji didn't do great, but Ortega's got to take at least 70-80% of the blame for that. And the goal with Mr. Lewis. Now, he may have given Rico a shout, I don't know, but they fumbled it, they cocked it up between them. So if he had shouted Rico, he shouldn't have got his foot on it, should have just left it to Ortega. But I'll work on the basis that they didn't communicate with each other and they're both equally to blame. But Ortega, on the basis of what we saw today, we can see why he's a very, very good number 2 on his day, but he'll never oust old Edison while he's there at the moment.
Look, I'm not as harsh as you. I'd say one bad performance isn't everything for me. I'd like to.
He's a good number 2, but he's not better than Edison. Simple as.
I'll go along with that. He's not better than Edison, but I think you need to see him play a little bit more, and that's never going to happen, though. That's the thing. I think.
For a guy who plays what he played, I think he played 11 games last season, which is pretty good for a number 2 keeper, and that's what he is, and that's what he'll do.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at who else we've got that I want to check up on. I'm a bit. When you see that first half, the first 2 goals. Look at Mr. Long on. We've got Long Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Hey guys, how you doing?
All right. But I'm going to ask Bernard this. You got Stones, Akanji, Ake, and Walker in defence in the first half. How come we were so shocking and they got through very, very easily twice and scored goals?
I think the main problem was Stones was playing defensively at times, but he wasn't. He was roaming forward, so it left a little bit of miscommunication, I think, at the back, especially that. I think it was the second goal where they were all seen to be strolling back. There's no seen energy because Stones was the last man. And he sort of took a look to his right, and he must have seen the guy in the middle. Must have seen their player running up the middle. Akanji wasn't breaking any sort of records to get back. And Stones just, rather than try and play a little offside by just stopping briefly, a little split second would have played him offside. He just carried on his run, and obviously it was a great ball across, a simple ball across, really. And the defence looked a bit both goals in the first half, looked very caught square and very lethargic. a bit like the old City, you know, in a few 4, 5, 6 seasons ago, getting caught square at the back.
Yeah, but well, looking from the outside, it does feel a bit disappointing to concede those goals. The other two people, well, in the first half, I want to know how Phillips and Kovacic in midfield did. What do you think of their performances?
Me again.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yeah. Kovacic started okay, but he faded a little bit. But fine, first game, no problems there. And Phillips was one of those where he did. I literally have ticks and crosses, and he had a tick cross, cross, tick cross.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what Phillips was like. And obviously, as far as Pep's concerned, if he's going to play like that, he'll never get a game.
Not good enough. Mike, did you watch the full game, or do you watch the highlights?
I watched the highlights, guys. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And I thought that Kovacic was, as I expected, fairly muscular presence. I was disappointed by Calvin Phillips. Actually, he missed a lot of passes, and I think that his confidence is quite low. He needs to be given some games, and let's see how it develops. But I'm surprised that he's still here, guys. I really am. I don't see how he's going to get into City starting 11 for most of the games next season. So I'm a bit surprised about that.
I can understand why he's here, because we're losing players. So you know, it's an issue at the moment. You know, obviously we've lost Gundogan and Mahrez. And we need the bodies, so I can see why he's here. If there's no one else that we can get to replace, that's much better than him, then I can see why. And he wants to stay. You can't force him out the door. But he's at some point he's got to show why we bought him, and I haven't seen that at all ever from Calvin Phillips. We're a possession-based team where, you know, we shouldn't be making mistakes. We're not allowed to make mistakes, our players, and he makes too many, as far as I'm concerned. And back to Bernard, the kids. I want to know, McAtee. I really wanted to see, you know, what he could do. Do you think his spell at Sheffield United last season has brought him on?
He looked a little bit below our level. In fairness, he didn't. Again, he was a ticking cross guy. You know, tick cross, tick cross, tick cross. He just didn't look quite. Of the guys on the pitch, you know, obviously Palmer was on with him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
At the same for the first half. Of course, he looked a level below. He looked as what he is, you know, a sort of more inexperienced player. So first game, but yeah, it did look a little bit. A couple of fouls, you know, that he got sucked into. Yeah, a couple of okay things, but yeah, he didn't quite look up to standard based on what was around him.
Yeah, you're disappointed with them, or do you think, look, the kids?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to have too much of a downer. First game. I mean, he was probably trying hard, as we've said last season, haven't we? With people like Palmer, where they want to impress. Of course, they do. And he wanted to impress, and it didn't quite work on the day. He did a couple of things okay, but he as I say, he wasn't consistent in the same way Phillips did. You can see him trying his hardest, but he didn't quite make it.
Yeah, Mike, I'll pop to you. A lot of people have talked about Cancelo and how he played. He's a very frustrating individual. But you know, give us your feedback. What do you think of Cancelo and his performance today, Mike? Mike? Hello? All right. Bernard, how about you?
Yeah, well, I was impressed. Apart from when I was doing my man of the match, I thought Alvarez for the first half played very, very well. A lot of people didn't echo that, but I thought he did really well. And the second half, it was between Haaland and Cancelo. I mean, whether we like it or not, he looked very, very good today. And that, I mean, that all right, the goal, he looked a bit iffy for that final goal, of course, where he put it into that, is it the sort of area of uncertainty, like that KDB usually does so very, very well. Cancelo did the same, but he played very, very well. He played really well defensively as well. He did a couple of good things. So for me, him and Haaland were the outstanding players in the second half.
Yeah,
guys, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
When you talk, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I think we might have got cut off there for a little bit, but I ran a poll on Bolt from the Blue. 70% of the followers, that's like 250 people, said that they did not want him back. But Cancelo was effective today. It's just all about his attitude and character, guys. I think that's the main thing. Is he prepared to knuckle down and not strop when he's not picked? I think that's the main thing, Bernard.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm only commenting on how he played today. I'm not going to comment on him being a thug and attacking our players in a training session. If you believe what we've been told before he went, I won't defend him at all for that. I can only comment on what he did today. And to be honest with you, he's one of our better players on the pitch. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so let's see. I'll ask about a couple of more players then. Obviously, I'm interested in how the kids did. So I'll ask Bernard, what do you think about Gomez, Peroni, Oscar Bob and Lewis?
Yeah, Peroni, not really much time to see Peroni. You know, he's on for about 18, 19 minutes with injury time. You can't really say too much. Lewis, I thought, looked good, obviously, but that error with Ortega sort of blotted his copybook a little bit, and he was frustrated by it. Of course he was, which he should be, because he'd had a reasonable game till that, and that sort of knocked him down on my thing. Gomez, I think, looked more comfortable playing a sort of left midfield, left wing sort of job. He's not going to take over from Grealish anytime soon, even though Grealish was pretty average again today. But Gomez looked comfortable in that sort of position. And who was the other guy you mentioned? Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, very good. But Oscar Bob, yeah, I mean, when Palmer, I was looking at this. I was looking at it at half time, and I rated Palmer quite high. Then I started watching Oscar Bob, and I thought, hey, this guy looks even more comfortable than Palmer. But then I thought, no, because Palmer did okay in that first half. But Oscar Bob looks as though he's been there a while. He, like McAtee looked out of his depth. Oscar Bob looks as though he could like Lewis get into that place and grow. He certainly looked. He had the confidence, put it that way, that perhaps a couple of the other guys didn't.
Last couple of minutes, then I will ask you guys, both of you, would you have a similar side, Mike, for the next game?
I think I would. I think Ray said something quite important in the last few pods, where a lot of these young players, they feel that they've got to do something special in order to kind of like make a name for themselves and get them into Pep's thinking, whereas he doesn't want them to. He wants them to be functional units in his chess piece board. And that's what Pep is more impressed by. It's going to be difficult for them to establish themselves, I would think. But these teams out here in South Korea and Japan, they're very, very fast. They're very, very fit. They don't lack. They certainly lack the penetration, and they lack the strategy. But they're very fast and very fit. And if you are kind of like lethargic, they'll take advantage of you and they'll score goals, I think.
Yeah. Bernard, what about you? What do you think? What's your thinking for the remaining, obviously, 2 games of the tour?
Yeah, I think Pep will try different combinations. I think he'll want to see certain guys working. He wants to see Kovacic working with someone else, working with Rodri. See how that works, because he's not at the stage where he's going to pick his starting 11 yet. He probably won't have that when he gets to the Community Shield. He'll be getting towards it, I hope. KDB might be back for that with a bit of based on what I've seen. But so this game and the Atletico game, I think he'll do a similar thing, but he'll mix. He won't start the same teams. I think he'll mix and match. As I said, he'll want to see certain combinations. I think that's what he'll try and do over the next couple of games. But yeah, I can see still wholesale changes. So even though I got a nice victory today, there's nothing to say we can do that against better teams. No disrespect to Yokohama, but in Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid, I don't think Bayern Munich could beat us 27-0 or anything like that. But,
I hope not.
I think Pep will mix it up. I think Pep will mix it up. Whether he'll do what he did this time as well, I don't see why not. He gets a half each, for instance. But someone like Kovacic, I can imagine he'll get. Pep wants to see him, so I think he'll get as much time as Pep will give him. But I think he'll mix it up a little bit. I don't think it'll be the exact way he did it today, but I think he'll like to see different combinations working. And the young lads, actually, if there's only 2 or 3 of them playing, it won't be too bad for us as a team. I think that works, and it works for the young lads as well.
Yeah, I mean, my final point is, I've said this for years. If you have too many younger players or second stringers, players who aren't used to being there, then you can look pretty disjointed. If you have just 2, I think you can cope. But once you get to a certain, that's why Delph and Zinchenko played all right at left back, because the rest of the team was so blooming good. We had 70% possession. They weren't unduly troubled too often. But once you put 2 or 3 of the second string or the kids in, it's really difficult because they are not as good as the players that they're replacing. As I said, you can have one person, he could be playing at 80%, but the other guys are playing at 95%. It doesn't make a lot of difference. Once you get 3 guys in at 80%, there is a drop off, and you can see it with some of the performances today. So I'm very interested. Quickly, Bernard, when's the next game?
Yeah, Wednesday, 11:30 UK time against Bayern Munich. So same stadium. 61,000 there today, a little bit below capacity. So obviously they sell these tickets, and some people don't turn up, which is the norm, isn't it? But obviously the Yokohama fans were loud. We'll interested to see how it goes against Bayern Munich, though, with a lot of City fans there, or a lot of City shirts. I mean, they didn't seem overly vociferous, so they weren't singing, they're not singing the songs we know, put it that way. But so same stadium. It's another sellout, but as I said, there's always a few empty seats because of people not turning up, etc.
Yeah, I'm going to wind this up, guys, because it's now coming up to 7:30 in the UK. I've been up since 3. I'm a bit tired, and we're going to be recording hopefully a really informative video with Colin Savage in a few minutes' time about sponsorship and Manchester City. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've got to say big thanks to Bernard and Mike. Mike, who's in South Korea, must be, what time is it for you, Mike?
It's 20 past 3 in the morning.
There you go. That's dedication for you, dedication. Thanks a lot, guys. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. And we'll see you around Blues.